excited today to be with one of my classmates from Moore Park College, Jessie. And, you know, we've really talked to a lot of keepers so far in this series, and Jessie is a keeper, but Jessie is also a business owner and an educator. So I'm excited to bring you kind of like a different perspective and a new view on the hundreds of ways that you can actually take care of animals and make money for it, right? Because that's what I learned in school. I don't know about you, Jessie, maybe you were a one-track person, but I went in thinking I wanted to do one thing and realized there were so many different options. So why don't I stop talking and just, you can tell us a little bit about Animal Wonders and how you got to where you are in your career.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Lindley. I'm excited to be part of this. I have enjoyed the series so far, and I'm excited to be able to share what I've gone through with others. Yeah, starting with the one track, no, definitely that was not me. I originally wanted to be a veterinarian. Then I wanted to be a wildlife documentary filmmaker. Then I wanted to be an elephant keeper. And that's when I found I guess my first stepping stone. I worked at a vet clinic for about 4 years before I realized that wasn't for me. Went to film school, that wasn't for me. So to say, like, it, get experiences, because that's how you know what you don't want to do. But then I actually made like my first step towards what I did want to do. And I went to America's Teaching Zoo, the exotic animal training and management program at Moore Park College. And that's when I was like, I want to be an elephant keeper. And as I went through the program, I learned, so I had so many experiences and I learned so much, and I realized that wasn't what I wanted to do. I loved caring for the animals, and I'm like, I definitely want to keep that in my life, but I also want some interaction with the public. And that's different than a lot of zookeepers. A lot of them are like, I don't like humans, I want to just do the animals. But I really enjoyed being able to share my passion and what I had learned with others. That was super fulfilling to me. And I didn't realize until I went to school and had that experience, I didn't realize that I loved it. So, sorry, I've got animals all around me. They're making lots of noise. So don't get too distracted. So as I got more experience, I was just trying to figure out what am I going to do? What track am I going to go into? I loved training. I think what really propelled me toward my path was working with underappreciated animals. So at the program, at the school, I got docked points for totally ridiculous reasons, of course. And so I did not have like the top grades like Lindley did. So I got relegated to the less popular animals. And what a great thing to have happen, because I got to really experience challenge. And you were so excited. What is going on? Goodness. And the challenges led me to my biggest successes, I think. And that's when I decided I wanted to work with rescuing animals that were displaced and educating the public. So I wanted to, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do outreach. And so I got a job working at an education center. So it wasn't exotic animals, it wasn't zoo animals, it was actually farm animals. So it was a lot of domestic animals, goats and llamas and miniature horses and rats and chickens. And I was able to put my skills of training to use and also like the education part of like, I am so excited to teach you about this chicken. Let me tell you all the things you don't know about chickens and watch it do some fun things so that you're really engaged. And So I just really honed those training skills and then the education entertainment combo skills. And then my husband and I decided to open our own nonprofit organization where we would take in rescued, displaced animals and share them with the public. And that's what we did. So we opened Animal Wonders and did it in a state that had a bazillion challenges to make everything just a little bit more exciting. We moved to Montana and yeah, it's that's where I am now. Yeah.
You know, you said a couple of things that I want to go back to. Number one, like you said you lost points at Moore Park. So like, I think there's times in people's careers where they make an error, they get written up or they get fired, or they, you know, this is an extreme version of what, of that experience at Moore Park for you, but something doesn't go the way they planned. And I don't know, just talk to like how you can react to those situations and how you reacted. You know, you turned it into a positive, but tell me how that felt.
Yeah. You know, I joke that it was totally ridiculous reasons, but I broke the rules. Like there was rules clearly there, and I was late to class and I didn't turn in an assignment on time. And I didn't study very well for a test, so I got a lower grade. I mean, those are all my mistakes. And so yes, super disappointing, but there's no one to blame but myself. And, you know, I kind of beat myself up a little bit, but I don't know, as soon as I got to working with the animals that I was assigned, all of that disappointment went away. And so I think as the first couple were pretty hard to take and be like, ooh, yeah, that's on me. And so I didn't make the same mistake twice. I made different mistakes each time. So I did learn that. But the first one was hard. And then the second one was like, well, yeah, that was my mistake. I own it. And I know, but I knew that I could get through it. And like the punishment wasn't as severe because of what I was able to, I don't know, make of it. I don't know, that sounds kind of applesaucy, sorry, that's like,
No,
it's my own word.
It's good, I know exactly what you mean.
So I think, yeah, I guess I didn't really think of it as like a real world, like demotions or being written up or that, but that's totally what it was. It was preparing me for making mistakes and having a consequence, and definitely made me more resilient. I don't know, when I make a mistake now, it doesn't hurt as bad as it did back then, because I always know that something else is going to happen, and there's always ways to make what you're experiencing into a fun challenge, or you know, just make the most of it, I guess is where I'm going. But it's true, it's absolutely true.
Yeah, I think you maybe don't give yourself enough credit for that as a personality trait, because I think it's hard for a lot of people, but you're really good at taking challenges and turning them into opportunities. And so that was my second thing that you talked about. You talked about how like you have built an outreach company with discarded, for lack of a better word, like animals that didn't work out with wherever they were for one reason or another, which are typically the animals that no one wants to use in an outreach situation because they're harder and they require more relationship building and time. So, you know, maybe share like one of your like greatest success stories on that.
Oh yeah, great. So we have over 100 animals at Animal Wonders right now, and I would say the most challenging are birds, are parrots, and we got, I guess there's two that are pretty good success stories. An Amazon parrot, her name is Zoe. She was purchased as a pet, and the family dynamics, they had another bird in the home. Everyone was biting everyone. I mean, the humans weren't biting the birds, but it was a bad situation, and they rehomed her to us, and she was very fearful, and she would bite a lot. She did not like me at all. And she liked, I think my red hair throws a lot of parrots off. They just aren't used to it. And so they're like, that's not right. That's scary. And so it took a lot of work, tons of positive reinforcement and trust bond building. And she is probably our most popular parrot in our public programs, because she's loud and confident, and I've put in a ton of work, and so she has a lot of fun behaviors that she can show off. She flaps her wings. She doesn't fly, she's too heavy to fly, but she flaps her wings. She falls over and uses her feet to grip onto my finger as a perch. She shows off her feet. She talks a bit. So from being a bird that was so fearful that she was resorting to biting in a pet household, to being one of our most popular, most famous parrots, I'm super proud of her, and that's huge. And then the other one is a 30-something-year-old macaw that was passed around to at least 4 or 5 different homes. She plucks. She has a ton of fear. And it took 3 years before she did her first program, public program. And she's a rock star. She knows how to communicate to me on when she gets nervous. I listen to her. She gets to go to her safe place. We just had to work a lot on learning how to read each other's communication, and the trust aspect was big too. But a lot of people in Montana haven't ever seen a macaw. I mean, it's pretty popular down, when you can access a big zoo, there's macaws like perched all over the zoos usually. Or you can go to a facility that has macaws, because it's easy to keep them in a warm climate. And in Montana, there's just very few of them. And so a macaw is a big wow. That's a big bird. That's a colorful bird. And then I get to share the stories of, this is a very challenging animal. This is her story. This happens a lot to macaws, and being able to share that aspect of it as well, so that fewer macaws will go through the same experience and trauma that she did. So that one I'm super proud of as well. Yeah, the mammals are awesome too, but they seem to be a little bit easier.
Yeah, feed me and I'm yours. Okay, let's see. What skills do you feel like really set you up for success in, starting your own business? Because I mean, I remember the challenges from permitting to building to getting animals. Like, again, if anyone is good at turning challenges into positives, it's you.
Oh, that was huge. It was a long time ago. It was almost 15 years ago. And a lot has happened since then, but so I guess that the biggest skill that served me well was persistence. This is what I want, and I'm going to figure out how to get there. Asking for help was huge, because you can be presented with a problem. If you don't know how to solve it, you're stuck. So being willing to ask people for help, and then piecing all of this information, because no one had done this in my state before. No one had. And I was on the phone, I was sending emails. I was talking to so many people, and then just saying, this is what I want to do. How do I make it happen? Okay, well, there's no laws that are written for it now. How do I navigate with the laws that are in place now to be able to get a permit to be able to do this? And persistence, huge. And then doing what I could with animals and rescuing animals before I got the big permits to be able to take in some of the bigger ones. So, I mean, I was doing school programs with a leopard gecko and a corn snake and a parrot. And so I got the state permit, and then I had to work with USDA, and then I had to get the Fish and Wildlife, Fish and Wildlife, the federal permit, US Fish and Wildlife. Yeah. So I had to get all 3 of those, and then we had to get insurance, which this was during 2008, which if you're alive then and you remember, it was a big recession, and no insurance companies wanted to take a bet on wild animals and children. That just was, so I reached out to someone else and was able to kind of call in a favor and get our first insurance company, which ended up dropping us 2 years later after they realized we had snakes longer than 2 feet long, which I had told them we did. They just didn't realize. I don't know. So then back to persistence. All right, here's my goal. I'm gonna go make it happen. And then I had to get our nonprofit status, because it's really hard to find financial stability for a whole bunch of animals when you're not charging just ridiculous fees for programs. You know, you want to serve people that need your program. That was, oh gosh, it was so many pages. I think it was like 100 or something close to that pages of an application to fill out, and it was a lot of work. It took about a year of constantly working on it to get through. And I guess the other skill that really served me well was, sounds silly, but being pleasant to people when you're incredibly frustrated, and realizing that, you know, they're just a person trying to follow the rules, and meeting them, being like, here is my goal, and I'm not making progress. Can you help me? Instead of just getting mad at them for being like a barrier or a roadblock to your success. Like, I mean, rarely are people out to get you. So trying not to fall into that place of victimhood is super important when dealing with frustrating situations.
That's awesome. So now you're a hiring manager. I mean, you're a business owner, so obviously you have employees who work underneath you. Like, what are you looking for in keepers and interns, and even really volunteers who come to work for you?
Absolutely. We're really small. And so when we take someone in, they have to fit with our team that's already here. And that includes volunteers, so and interns. And so we actually interview everyone, from staff to interns to volunteers. And we try and be really upfront with, like, this is hard. Like, what you're coming into, it's not gonna be sitting around cuddling animals all day. Most of these animals have some kind of trauma in their past, and they'll be scared of you. And so that's not going to happen. You're going to be cleaning, you're going to be building enrichment, you're going to be building enclosures and scrubbing, and it's a lot of work. And so I like to see their reaction to that. Like, what I want to see is not like, oh, that's no problem, that's fine, but also like I do understand this, and I want to do this for the right reasons, for educating the public, for bettering the lives of the animals. And so I ask in the interview process, I do ask a lot of different questions that let me see like how do you face a challenge? Like what reaction did you have in real life to a challenge that you encountered, and see how they have navigated it. And if they show resilience, that's what I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I think that is a huge thing that I'm looking for, because they have to be resilient to work here long term. And the other thing is there's a lot of need for those interpersonal skills, those little skills. And you had a word for it. What's the word for like
soft skills?
Yeah, soft skills. Okay, so like those communications between people, so important. And so when they're communicating with me in that interview, I want to see them listening to what I'm saying. If they get nervous, that's totally fine. I mean, that's a totally natural response, but how they like navigate it, I want to see them responding in the moment and feeling comfortable enough that they can express themselves honestly. And that's going to tell me that they're going to be able to, when we all are challenged here, they're going to be able to communicate to me what their needs are in the moment, and so that we can address that. If those skills aren't there's no way that I can help them through a tough period, because the lines of communication have to be available so that you can use them to fix a problem. So I think those two things are the biggest thing that I'm looking for when I'm hiring.
Yeah. I think I asked someone the other day, like what the biggest thing they were struggling with. And they said that their teams don't have the soft skills or the communication skills to be able to advocate for their needs, their ideas, their thoughts, their opinions, in a way that like leadership can actually do something with it, like, or help, like you said, I can't help you work through this challenge if you can't tell me that there is a challenge, or be open about those things. So yeah, I don't think you're alone in that, that's an important thing that you're looking for.
My favorite interview question is, what animal would you be if you could be any animal in the world? And I love it's such a variety of responses, but it really lets me see, creativity and personality, and it shows me a little bit of that glimpse of those soft skills there. So
yeah, I love that. Awesome. Let's see so one of your employees just recently started one of my online courses, and we were actually talking about her and how amazing she is before we started today. But I want to talk about so you're an outreach organization, a nonprofit on a shoestring budget. Not that my courses are expensive, but they're not necessarily food and medical care and housing for the animals, right? They're not one of those like main necessities. So what made you willing to invest in that employee financially? And then what is she doing that makes you feel good about that investment? Or, we know that you feel good about the investment because I already said she's amazing, but like.
Yes. Okay. So as a nonprofit, I'm the executive director of the nonprofit, and I was the keeper, the hands-on only keeper for many years, and then I hired on staff when we were really stable and we had more animals and we were servicing the community more, and So this employee has been with us for 5 years. And, oh, wait, sorry, go back. My point was, so I'm the executive director, but in a nonprofit, there's another branch. There's the board of directors. And they oversee that the executive director is fulfilling the mission of the nonprofit, and being financially responsible, and managing staff well. And so they're there to oversee, but also support the executive director. And I was talking with them, and I was expressing how much I appreciated my staff, and that I wanted to continue to help them grow. I mean, in the 5 years she's been with us, she has grown immensely, but I've gotten to where I don't have as much time as I did. And I'm also overseeing many other staff. And so I don't have as much time to devote specifically to her. I've given her a lot of what I know, but she can grow. She can grow beyond what I can offer her at this point. And so I was talking to my board, and I'm like, I really want to offer professional development for my staff. And that looks like, business classes, and that looks like training classes, and that looks like public education or public speaking classes, and management classes. So I know that she really liked training the animals. So I wanted to, that was like the first step that I wanted to take in offering her professional development. And it's for us, we talked about it ahead of time, and she was very excited. Like, we talked about, like, what are the things that you would like to grow in, and training was one of them. So it wasn't like I know everything, I'm gonna do this to you. That's not how our team works at all. It's like, what can we do together to continue to grow? And she loves training, so she's like, yes, I'd like to do this. I was like, well, I have a friend that I know that offers these really cool courses. What do you think about this? And she's like, I love it. I love this idea. And so when I talked to the board, I presented it. I said, it costs this much. I think it's going to, one, reward an amazing staff member, and it's going to improve the animals' care, and it's going to take some pressure off of my plate as well. So it was just like a win for everybody. And we did a little bit, we made sure that we had the funding. We reached out to some donors, and we got some funding, and we're able to make that happen. So I didn't know what to expect. Whenever I'm having an issue, I usually reach out to you. I'm like, this is the problem I'm having. What is happening? So I know you have awesome skills. So I was very excited to see what it was going to all be about. And she is in, I don't know what week, it's like 5 or 6 weeks now. And after her first session, I was like, you need to tell, I'm a little bit jealous that you're going to take this course, and tell me all about it. And she was just gushing about how excited she was about it. And a couple of weeks later, she shared some more. And what I was super impressed with was the animals that I gave her total free reign. She gets to do it. She gets to choose which animals she's going to work with, and what skills she's going to work with them with. And she chose, it was kind of like, I love it so much because maybe it was like, a choice after my own heart. Like, she chose an animal that wasn't very popular, didn't get a ton of time, and she's not going to get I don't know, she's not going to be like famous for doing it. She chose it because it was a challenge. She chose it because this animal needed it. And she started going it, and she was telling me all the progress she made in just a few days, and then weeks have built onto it. And it's just, I'm so happy. I literally want to cry. because it's exactly what I was hoping the course would do for her, for the animals, and for our organization overall. So she chose, I don't know, can I go into what she chose and how she's doing it?
Yeah, tell us. Now everyone's
So
going to want to know.
I know, right? I'm so exciting. I don't know, maybe I built it up too much, but that's I love these little, I get so excited about the little things. So we rescued 2 Turacos from a pet situation. I think a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago. And one of the Turacos was really handled. She is going to be an ambassador, so she's going to do public programs. And so I've been putting a lot of work into her, training her, and she's like, that's close to doing her first one. The other Turaco was not handled much at all, very typical flighty Turaco. And so I put a little bit of work into her in the beginning, and then realized, she's probably not ever going to be an ambassador. And so we set her up in a space that was suited to her needs. She's fed, cleaned, she gets enrichment, but that's it. I trained her how to go onto a scale to get weighed so we could monitor her health, but that was it. And so what she did was I guess there's another aspect to it. In the winter time, she can't live outside, but in the summertime, we love to get our birds out to get natural sunlight. And so we move her into an outdoor aviary when the weather gets warm enough. But in order to do that, we have to catch her up because she's not handleable. And so stressful on her, on us. It's just a bad situation. Overall benefiting her, but bad situation. And so my staff member, can I say her name?
Sure.
Awesome. So Taylor, easier that way. So Taylor chose her, and she chose to train her a crate training behavior. And for a bird that doesn't let you touch them and has major trust issues and is free flighted, also living in an enclosure with an African crested porcupine who is reactive, and chaos happens often between the two of them. Not directly, the sound. There's one up here and there's one down there, and it's so she set up a station where she can put the crate in, and she started the beginnings of just getting her close to the crate, going onto the perch without the lid, and then she added the top to it, and then she added the cover to it, and then she added the door to it, and the Turaco is going into it. And she's had a few setbacks where she'd close the door and the Turaco would be like and she'd first she'd come out and then she'd go back in. She had built a strong enough foundation that even when something was not great, the Turaco had enough trust in there to go back to previous steps. And it's springtime now, and we're just about ready to make the move where the Turaco would go outside. And I am so excited to have her freely go into her travel crate, carry her over to the outdoor aviary, and let her go. But then we have to follow up with, now she has to go back into the crate from the aviary, which we'll be working on. But so I don't know if that's like, that to me is that is gold right there. That animal needed the time, that as a crate training them improved their welfare significantly. And she chose a super challenging animal and was able to make a big impact in that animal's life and increase her skills, because that's a hard animal to work with. They're not coming to you for fun. Like that's all for skills. It's almost a wildish animal, super flighty, super reactive, and she's having success. So now that she knows how to do that, she's built that foundation from the beginning of training this animal to being successful with having her go into the crate. she's going to be able to take on another animal that we take in, because often that would fall to me. I would take on the most challenging animals, get them to a point where other people could then handle them, and then we would go from there. Now she has the skills to do what I was the only one that was able to do that now. And so that's just going to strengthen our team and the animals that we take in now and the organization as a whole as we grow bigger.
I love that.
So yay. Thank you, Lindley, for offering that. Very exciting for us.
Well, I just love, you know, like, I think it was Kelsey in one of the previous videos. She said, I realized at some point that I was going to have to invest in my institution, and then they would be willing to invest in me. And, you know, I think you kind of like, Taylor's been there, you said 5 years, almost probably going on 6 now. But, you know, she didn't, I'm sure that it wasn't all sunshine and roses for those 5 years that she was there. Probably some hard times, but she didn't cut and run. So you must have done a really good job finding out whether or not she fell in that persistence category.
It was a kind of unusual, she was my first hire, very first hire. And we just kind of had a heart to heart. I'm like, I didn't take business classes. I don't really know what I'm doing. Do you want to go on this adventure with us? And man, she just blew it out of the water. She's awesome. She's been through staff shortages, you know, animal loss. We all go through that. Some really tough like situations with other staffing, and navigated and helped us through a whole lot of the pandemic. She worked remotely for a while. It was just, she is pretty incredible, very resilient, very persistent in making sure that like this, she wants the animals to be better. She wants to get better. She wants the organization to thrive. And it's just amazing.
I love that. Well, she's going to cry when she watches this now. Okay, one last question. When was it ABMA that we ran into each other in Oregon or Seattle or? Yeah. I think so.
Yes. Yep. That's a couple of years ago. Yeah.
And so, you know, like I knew you were doing YouTube videos and I knew that they were getting quite a bit of views, but like you were a celebrity, like people were taking pictures with you and like wanting to meet you. Like, so tell me, because I think the other thing that people struggle with is, I mean, you know, it's a ladder, not lateral. It's a ladder. Like I do this and then I do this and then I do this and I do this. But when you go in and decide I'm going to own the company, there's no next level, right? Like,
yeah.
So how do you keep, you know, to me, YouTube was a way for you to grow your business, but also a new skill for you to learn. It married some of your passions together. But how do you continue to kind of like professionally develop yourself, even though you're at the top of the ladder at your institution and clearly not going anywhere else since it's yours?
Kind of entrenched here. No. Yeah. So there's no one telling me what to do besides my board, which I was the board chair for many years because we were so small. I am no longer the board chair, which is awesome, makes our organization healthier. But there's no one telling me what to do and no one telling me, like I have to make all the decisions basically. And I guess what I'm looking for is the next step. And I've been talking to, you know, my long-term volunteers and my staff, about this a bit, where it's like, I I don't spend as much time as I used to directly with the animals. And I'm sad about that, but I'm venturing into this place where I am very excited to, I guess this is not, it's not new. I get to share my passion with others. That's not new. I've been doing that since the beginning, but I'm sharing it in a different way now. And I'm able to, like, great easy example is with Taylor. I was able to teach her some stuff, but then give her the opportunity to grow and be amazing. And I have a facility where I can then also open the doors to interns and share more experience and more knowledge that I have built up over the years with them, so that they can go off and make their own ripples in the world. And to me, it's almost as exciting to give somebody else what I can and see them make these great improvements where they go off and on their adventures in their life, whether they're staying here or whether they're going to another animal facility or whether they're going to work in the field with animals with conservation or research. Like that is super inspiring to me. And I know for me to be able to continue to do that and continue to make not just a difference in the animals' lives that I care for every day, which is super close to my heart, but to make a bigger difference like that, I have to gain some more skills. I have to learn to be a better manager. I have to learn how to produce my own YouTube videos, which has been the new skill. I have to learn how to talk with, get brand sponsors, and develop my board more, and run bigger fundraisers and create a bigger base and a bigger foundation to grow from. And so it's still my idea, like, what is my goal? How am I going to get there? And to get there, I've got to pick up all these skills. So let's get cracking. Let's do that. I can't do that unless I hire more staff to take over more of my, on-site duties. Okay, let's do that. Let's just keep on checking off the list of things that need to get done in order to reach this goal. That's it. Do it. Just do that.
Well, I mean, that is, like you said that in the beginning. Okay, here's my goal. Here's what I have to do. I mean, you're just very focused on the steps that you have to take to, accomplish your goals. So I'm not surprised that you have a list of things that you are, going through.
Okay. Like, you say it like that, it sounds like I'm really organized, and like I am not. I'm like driven by passion and enthusiasm. So it's like, oh, what do I do next? Okay, let's do it. It's more like that than neat steps.
Whatever works. Well, I want to thank you so much for your time. I know that it's precious. You also have 3 awesome kids at home, so I know that there's lots of things pulling you in many different directions. So I hope that you guys loved hearing from Jessie today, and we'll be excited to see the next person I pull out of the cabinet to bring in front of you and pry them open.
I'm excited to see what's next.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you.